Hello, it's Julie from Spellbound again, and the last two times I showed you how to make a nice summery necklace with these little clusters along, and then we made a little daisy necklace with a button and loop fastener. Now I've still got lots of beads left from my original bead selection, and I've still got the bead that I started everything with, which is this one here. So this time I'm going to go back to my bead selection and make something incorporating this one. I'm going to be making a necklace, and I'm going to be combining a fine thread such as tiger tail or a stranded wire beading thread with some thong. Right, I've made a little selection of beads from my original collection, and I've laid them out in a little design. Now, as you can see, it's not symmetrical. There isn't necessarily an exact centre point. It's somewhere about here, but it's not exact. And I've prepared some of the little flowers and leaves with connectors so they're ready to go on the cord. So the leaves have a cross hole across the top like that. So I've just put a 6mm jump ring on those. You may find that beads you've got will work the same way, or you might need to use a 4mm jump ring, or you might need to make a wire loop. And the flowers, I've got some on head pins with a seed bead, and these larger ones, there's a little sequence of seed beads inside, and the larger seed bead at the top allows me to pull really tight when I make the loop. So it's head pin, seed beads, a bigger seed bead at the top, and that means I can really pull hard on the wire to make the loop, so it's really up tight. Now I've got a mixture of hole sizes here. Some will fit on a thong, some won't fit on a thong. These ones definitely won't, as you can see, tiny holes. Most of the rest will, but I need that pink to join everything else together. So instead of going straight onto a thong, as I've done previously, I'm going to need to use a beading wire. So I've got a bit of stranded beading wire here, or tiger tail, and I'm going to use this for the front of the design. Now I've got some extra spacer beads here just in case I need them, because I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work yet, so I'm going to experiment. I'm going to start approximately the centre front, and you can see it's got a big hole, so I'm not sure whether a seed bead will sit. Just about. So I think a seed bead is a good idea, just to give us that little bit of flexibility that you need at the front of the design. I'm going to do the same the other end, and there we go. So that gets us started. Now it's a matter of threading on, so I think we'll go with that one that way, and let's just have a look. You see now that bead is jamming up against the jump ring, so I need to put something else in there. So I'm going to go to my extra bead selection and see what that looks like. That's fine. Now I just want a really cheerful design. So some little flowers. Right, let's put some on the other side, see how that works now. Again, this is quite a chunky bead, and it's going up against this quite delicate bead. So I'm going to put a seed bead. These are size 8 seed beads I'm using here. That's it, that gives it space to move. Pop on a little trumpet flower. And this is a resin flower. Yep, that's working. Right, now we're going on with the... I need to keep looking at this, making sure I've got a design that actually works okay. Yep, they're good together. Let's have a look here. We're going to go on to quite a big bead, so seed bead first, and then I think we need a seed bead again before I go on to there. Let's have a look. Yes, that's fine. Now, can I get away with that one straight away? It's very much trying to, yes, that's fine, but I'm not too keen on those two together just as they are. So I'm going to get another head pin. That's Indy the dog, who's obviously also excited about beads. And let's see what we've got in my bead selection. I'm going to put a little pink flower in as well. Do I like that? Yes, that's okay. And there's a lot of sort of stop, pause, have a little look, see what you think. I'm going to put that, yeah, I'm going to put that there, and then the yellow daisy. I don't want it to end on 2 yellow daisies because, well, it's boring. So I'm going to put another one on the end in a different type. Yeah, I think that's nice and jolly, and it uses the beads that I originally picked. So now I'm going to join this onto a pink and orange thong. Before I can make the join, I need to finish off the stranded wire beading thread. So that's my French crimp going on, and I'm going to pass the end of the thread back through, and I can just make a plain loop like that, but I want it to look more attractive, so I'm going to thread some seed beads on. And I've got some lilac and purple ones here, so yeah, I don't like the lilac, so the lilac is coming off. I'm going to find some more pink ones. And this is very much how I have always worked. I think you need to have a bit of a plan, but then be prepared to change the plan. So how many beads have I got there? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Now an odd number is better than an even number, because an odd number means that you'll have one right at the apex of the bend, which will give you a better shape. Right, I've passed back through the French crimp, and I need my flat pliers, and I squash the crimp flat. There we go. Now that raw end can hide inside that end bead. Oops. And let's do the same on the other end. Now that bead's got quite a big hole, so I think the French crimp will run inside it. So I'm going to put a seed bead on first, I think, but let's just try. No, the French crimp just about holds okay. That's fine then. And let's have 11 seed beads. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, just check. 4, 8, 11. Bring them down to the end of our bead sequence, and now I need to pass the end of the wire back through the crimp and, if possible, the first bead back, because that gives us a bit of manoeuvring room. Right, let's have a little look. You can see I've still got a little bit of wire showing there. I haven't pulled it up yet because I need to check that the front of the necklace is flexible, because if I crimp the crimp and it's too tight, the beads won't flex. Right, let's get in with the pliers and squash that crimp as flat as we can. Obviously you can use crimping pliers, but I've always preferred flat nose pliers. In with my wire cutters to cut off the excess. Right, let's move those out of the way. And now we just need to finish off. Now I've got some pink and I've got some orange. I'm going to see what they look like both together going through that loop we've made. Yeah, I think that works quite nicely. Let's get rid of the knot in the pink. So, two pieces together. And I think that works quite well. So I want a necklace that overall is going to be about 50 centimetres long, and that's about 25 centimetres, so you only need about that much cord on each side. I'm going to leave it a little bit longer because I'm going to tie a couple of knots. Let's get that nice and even. I'm just going to tie a knot here to hold everything neat. Pull the ends through. Let's try and make that knot a little bit tidier. That's better. I've got a nice knot there. I'm going to trim off the excess thread, and I'm going to do the same at this side. Now I could have used a lace end to join directly onto the wire thread and not put the little seed beads on to make the loop, but we're exploring different techniques, so it's much more interesting to do it like this as well. So I've got my two threads through. I've checked I've got enough thread to go to the back of the necklace, and I'm just going to pull that through to make the knot. Let's compare it to the other side. That's it. Now I need to think about how I'm going to do the clasp. I could put a metal clasp on, or I could do a bead and loop as I've done previously, and I think I'm going to try a bead and loop. I'm not sure if it'll work, but let's see. So I'm going to tie those. This is the shorter, this is the end I've trimmed rather. So there's one knot, and there's another knot. Right, so that's where my bead has got to go through. So I've tied one knot at the end and one a little bit further in. And now I need something to make the clasp with. So what have I got here? These are all my extras. Oh, and I've got one of those. That would be rather nice. I happen to know it's got a reasonable size hole. So let's see how many pieces of thread I can get through. There's one through. Don't think I'm going to get any more. let's tie all the others together at the other side. That's all 4 pieces being tied together. And now I need to tie a knot here to hold it all together. That's the bead has been threaded onto one side of the thread only, and then the other 3 pieces pass either in front of or behind. Right, so let's see if this works. Trim off the excess. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. I can just untie the knot and put a lace end on. But let's see. And it works. It's a little bit clumsy, so I think I probably will end up by putting a lace end on, but it doesn't really matter. It's the front of the necklace that's really important, and I'm really pleased with that. So from my selection of beads, of which I've still got all of these left, I now have one necklace, two necklaces, and 3 necklaces. And I've still got more beads to go, so I'll be back next time and perhaps we'll make a bracelet.